Three cats walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve you cats in here, now get!" And the three cats say, "Well, he's not pussyfooting around, is he?" And then they scratched his eyes out. I've got Thundercats. Hear me roar. Welcome back to the show, PopCon, a salute to all pop culture, but mostly the 80s. And we've got a trio of toys to debut and take their rightful place on the toy shelf behind me. I'm your G1 host, Victor, and thank you for being here and helping me with my adult collector goals, filling this toy shelf with representations of my favorite franchises made famous in the greatest era of the 1980s. If you're new here, consider subscribing and maybe throw me a like, too. Well, folks, I got some beauties today, and you're just in time for a bulk unboxing where I share all the glorious details, the background story, and give you an honest review of these pieces before they make it to the toy shelf. And you get to live vicariously through all the fun. And finally, get to watch me cat scratch these guys off of my ultimate collector's list. Let's get it on!
I never actually owned an original Thundercat action figure, and I've always kind of felt cheated. But it was a time in my life and an age where that was kind of frowned upon. Now, it was just a different time, but all that would come back to me. It's also a different time because you couldn't see cartoons whenever you wanted. You had to make sure it was available in your area. But having these shipping boxes in hand makes me believe I am righting a wrong and finally getting the Thundercats I never had.
Well, it's time. I, for one, can't wait to slide this out for all of you. So, let's get started. Let's take it easy here. Out of its shipping box, we're going to slide out the actual case for the action figure. There it is. Oof. Lion-O. Looking good. Let's do it again. Ooh. Again. Oh, ho, ho. Yes!
The inside boxes are very attractive foil embossed packages with slipcovers with the Thundercat symbol or even Mum Ra symbol. That goes for the mutants as well. And on the back is this gorgeous, very classic, dynamic Thundercats logo. So let's get in them. Let's start with our main man, Lion-O, the Lord of the Thundercats. And I slip off this, slipcover to what we see is a beautiful window box of packaging. Lion-O is featured with all of the extra parts, which I love these boxes. Now on the back is a group shot. It's very familiar to anyone who knows the Thundercats, and I'm not quite sure why it is that one and not an individual picture of them, but I do know there is a version 1 and version 2 of these figures, or at least of Lion-O. If anyone out there knows or understands what made the difference, I honestly searched and I couldn't find. Now, I'm not talking about the Third Earth collection. I'm talking about the Thundercats Ultimates version 1 and 2. But as we got for here, we have Lion-O. There are a few different claw shields. 2 furry, 2 smooth. There is also in the back, you can see the Book of Omens, as well as his alternate hands. We'll talk more about those claw shields and the different versions of the Sword of Omens, but you also see his growling head sculpt for that alternate head as well. Alright, next on to Monkeyian, the mutant with the Mum Ra symbol on the top. After taking off the slip cover, once again, we see a gorgeous window box. Now on the back of his packaging, he has a fantastic painting, an artist rendering of Monkeyian, the character, and a little bit right out about who that character is. Now, here in this box, he's so imposing. He is slightly, he's got a taller legs. His waist is higher than Lion-O's, but he actually is shorter than Lion-O, which is a little bit funny. But they've got such a big top. He's molded very large, his shoulders and hair. But he's got 2 alternate heads, one with a little bit open mouth, one with a bigger one. He's got the alternate hands to open or hold things, a blaster, his main mace with chain, and of course the cannon shield. So what I love about these is there's only one tie that binds these guys in their plastic. And our last one for today is Linxo, third one today, but this is a member of the Thundercats. He is a blind Thundercat. He was blinded by the destruction of their planet, but he has better senses in his hearing. He also has a gorgeous piece of artwork on the back of his box and a little description of him. He's a grizzled kind of experienced soldier, and when we open the box and pull out his blister pack, we see the accessories that he comes from. You can see that small tie bind around the center, which makes him easy to get out. But I love the dynamics of his cloth around his legs. You see all these alternate hands, the alternate sneering head, the light shield, the braille board, the tile from the fountain. You know what time it is? We got to prepare for Carousel.
Thunder, 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 Thundercats, ho!
I am Lion-O, Lord of the Thundercats. reminding you everyone should support the creator of this YouTube channel.
And I'm Snarf, telling you this. No kidding around. You'll love Popcorn.
Obey the code. Subscribe to Popcorn.
Alright, this is Linxo. Linxo, an older kitty and late to the game, but an important Thundercat. He looks like he popped right off the page. Love this sculpt, and his colors are very dynamic. He just stands at 6 foot 3/4 inches, the smallest of this group of Thundercat action figures, and I love looking at how awesome he is portrayed. Even the little things from the coloring on his ears and his beard, the tattoos on his arms, and those straps, whether it's the headbands or the one on his calves, which are huge calves by the way, look incredible. You can pose these guys in amazing ways. Here I just have a little lunge forward wearing the light shield. So again, here you can see that he's got the articulation that you need in a modern day action figure to pose them appropriately. I've also switched out his head. He has two alternate heads. One's kind of very stoic, the other with this snarling face, which I adore. Like they've been activated by the Sword of Omens. He's also holding the tile from the Fountain of the Garden of Thundera. Also comes with the Braille control panel he used often in the show. So love this articulation. You know, in the legs you've got it everywhere, including a swivel at the calf and the swivel at the ankle. So great figure overall. Here he is in another pose, keeping that snarl head. We see how he resembles his cartoon counterpart. I've also interchanged his hands. There is the ones that hold things, and there's the claw version as well. Let's go to our villain, our mutant. This is Monkeyian, leader of the, well, Monkeyans. It's funny, he is 7 inches tall, just almost exact, but they built him in a way that his waist is taller than the other figures, and he's giant on top. I've got him here in his head with a very large open mouth, but I actually prefer the smaller open mouth, just slightly. Now I've taken his articulation and put it what I think looks more like Monkeyian and given him his mace. And on that mace, that chain there probably could have been a little bit more dirtied up than looking so new. But when you look at his figure, look at his legs and that curl in, very primate. So the mold here, the fur and the hair, oh, great detail in his foot and his toes. Look at it, look closely and you see that the molding is so detailed. And exceptional with the textures in his loincloth, as well as the leather strips around his body. I changed it out with the blaster here, but I don't really like the blaster. I don't think it fits him. He does have his cannon shield as well. And look at the amount of fur like it's in motion. Great mold, including that helmet. And now it is time for the Lord of the Thundercats, Linxo, standing just a hair above 7 inches. And I do mean a hair because it is that mane. I apologize for the blurriness. It will come and go out of this. This really sucks. You can see that there's variations of the lion claw shield as well as the Sword of Omens in dagger form. So it's pretty neat to have the options of the furry or the smooth shield, the small sword, dagger, or the full-sized Sword of Omens. If you look at the animation, this thing jumps off the celluloid as well. Looks so great. Now they of course look a lot like Masters of the Universe Classics, which I never collected because I collect Masters of the Universe Origins, but this line for Thundercats is ideal for me. I knew the toy of He-Man first, so that's why I collect that, but this, it looks gorgeous, especially when you look at him with this alternate head and suddenly, boom, the full power of the Sword of Omens is out. And the articulation, again, puts him in these powerful poses that you'd expect Linxo and any of the Thundercats to have. So you can alternate by putting those claws on his hand or on his belt. The articulation in his chest and all of the joints he's got is really so spectacular. And in this final piece, I wanted to show you that he does have alternate hands, one for holding things and one for clawing. But I actually put the Book of Omens in his clawed hands. I thought it worked really well. And swapped back the first head, the very stoic head, as the book is very serious, you know. Again, these things just have beautiful articulation. They make the poses exactly how you want them to be. Now for my favorite time comparison. So this is the new Super 7 Thundercats Ultimates Monkeyian. Let's take a quick look at his animation model for the cartoon from the 80s that was used to help sell the toy line. So this is what we saw every day or every Saturday morning, whenever it is our cartoon was on. However, this is the original toy from the 80s. Now I do make fun of them quite a bit because of course the technology or the ability to make action figures like we do today just didn't exist back then. Of course, to keep them also at a proper price point. But we can see now we're able to make an action figure that duplicates what we all have ingrained in our memory of who Monkeyian was. And that's the same thing that goes for Linxo. Now, Linxo was a Series 3 Thundercat in the 80s, and we can see here in some concept, he had a little bit more of an Asian influence, maybe even a sumo with his costume. I do like what they ended up with. But his figure, who was also a medium-sized Thundercat at the time, continues that trend as he's a little bit shorter than the others. But we can see his animation here in the cartoon series that we got used to. And of course, when we got the toy, this is what it looked like. Really surprisingly, the original figure looked a lot like we saw on TV. It just lacked the articulation and the detail in the molding that we expect today. But it is exciting now to know that we can get something that's exactly like it was envisioned. And then there's Lion-O, of course. Some concept art for Lion-O, as we know most of the Thundercats appear in the first episode, quote-unquote, naked. But quite honestly, him and his blue singlet are very iconic, and he looks just like he did in the animated series. We just have the opportunity now with the toy technology to be able to bring it into the 21st century, because here is his original 1980s action figure. And there were there was action features to these original action figures, but the coloring is all wrong. But the amount of detail we can bring in is why it is so exceptional to collect action figures today more than it was at the time. Well, these guys are stunning. Here are my 3 new Thundercat action figures, Lion-O, Linxo, and Monkeyian, and here they are on the shelf. I now have 6. Not quite done yet, of course, but there is a place on the toy shelf for them all. Here's a quick look at how amazing they look right there in the middle of all of my action figures and all of my toys on the PopCon toy shelf. They join Jaga, Pumaira, and Slide on the toy shelf. As usual, these guys are a perfect addition to my collection and look fantastic up on the toy shelf. So, every new toy brings me a little joy, and now I get to scratch off these 3 off the official list. Alright, well, it's getting a little smaller. You know, I don't know if you realize, I get a lot of backlog here with my toys to open for all of you, but you know, PopCon is so much more than that. What? You don't know? I mean, maybe it's time you check the backlog of all the shows I've done. I mean, it's only been a year and a half, but there's a lot of great shows out there, a lot of great content that I'm sure you'll enjoy. So why don't you take a look and then make a like for good old PopCon here. I'd really appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe. Did you see any of the Collection 82 Easter eggs throughout the show? Hey, it's a little game, and Collection 82 is our sister site, graphic design and illustration of this kind of content made by yours truly. So help me get my thing on your thing by clicking the link in the description. And check out another YouTuber, Thomas Goes Nostalgic, that we'll be working together in the near future, so we're looking forward to that. And I'll supply his link in the description as well. Hope you had a great time. I know I did. Check me out soon. I mean, check me out all the time. Go back and check them all out. Comment, subscribe, like, share. All right, until next time.